Alright, welcome YouTubers, and today I'm going to give you a quick little tutorial on how to solder. It's going to be pretty simple and fairly quick, should be anyway. Alright, so first thing, you're going, why is there a vehicle right here? Well, it's because this is going to be my subject. I do not like these connectors, and I am going to be going with this. This is a Dean's Mini Connector. I have to admit, I am loyal to a fault, and I love Dean's connectors. I've used them ever since they came out, which I can't tell you when that was, but I have been a loyal contributor to their bank account. Alright, so first thing, got a little bit of a distance there. Let's see. I will leave it, because when you bend it, it should even out. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find out just how much wire or insulation you want to take off. So you'll take your wire, let's put my finger in the background, and then you'll take your connector and you'll put the wire up to the back of the connector, and that will give you an idea. Let's try this. Here we go. And that will give you an idea as to how much insulation you want to take off of the wire. Alright? That's if you've never done this before, or if you don't have any idea as to what it is you're going to be doing. Alright, so then I take my X-Acto knife, I stick it in the insulation until I feel it hit the metal, and I roll it around, and then I take the insulation off. Now, it's always a good idea to twist your wires, because you don't want any stray wires sticking out somewhere when you have power going through this stuff. Even if you're going to have insulation or shrink tubing over it, it still may sneak out of the shrink tubing or something, and then you could cause problems. So you want to twist your wires, keep them all nice and neat and together. See how nice and pretty that is? Okay, so now since this is on a vehicle and it's fairly high from the ground, there's really no need to put this in a jig or anything like that. So you take your soldering iron. Always clean your soldering iron before you go to use it. I have a little sponge in here that's got water that cleans my tip for me. Now, when you're messing with little things such as little wires like this and little connectors, you'll want to have, where'd it go? There it is. A small tip on there. You don't want to have a shovel tip on there. They're really big, and that's for, of course, bigger heavy duty or stuff like building battery packs or something. So now I take my solder and I find my hot spot on my soldering iron. I take a pointer or something like this, and I just put a little dab of flux onto the wire. And this will take a very short amount of time. And there, the wire is now tinned. Notice how see the shininess? That means it's got solder on it. Okay, so that wire is tinned, and since that's been tinned, now you can go ahead and put your shrink tubing over the wire. And move on to your next wire. Now this process that I'm showing you is how you would do it on your vehicle with your speed controller, but with a battery you'll want to do it a little differently. With a battery you'll want to do your negative wire, you'll want to solder it to your connector, you'll want to cover it up and shrink tube it. Then you can go ahead and do your positive. This one here, I'm going to strip both wires, tin them, and then I'm going to connect them to my connector, and so on and so forth. Because there's no power coming out of this. The other one, there's power, and because there's power, you have to protect yourself and your equipment, and you need to cover it up. That's why you can't have both your wires exposed at the same time. Alright, so now that I have my wire tinned, I'm going to strip down this other one. Strip this. Whoa. Now I probably could have used wire strippers, but I think those are just a little too big for something small and dainty like this. Sometimes, well, maybe not. Maybe. Okay. Little flux. So what flux does is it helps the solder hold on to the object that it is being soldered to better. Gives it a better grip, shall we say. Makes it a stronger bond. Alright. So now I have this ready to be soldered. I'm going to take my shrink tubing. Come on. There we go. And slide that down there like so. Now I have this. This is a hobbyist helping hand. And when I'm doing stuff like this, I like to use it. Alright, let's... As you can see, with the helping hand, you can maneuver things and get it to fit pretty close to what you want, what you're looking for. All right. Also on this, unlike a battery, when you're doing a battery, your positive wire, if you are doing these type of plugs, needs to be female. You cannot have, or you should not have, the positive wire with the protruding male connector. It should always be the female. That way random things don't hit it and cause a short or a spark or anything like that. Okay, so now we have our solder, we have our wire, we have our connector tinned. Now it's just a matter of taking the soldering iron and putting it to the wire, and there we go. It's a nice quick little transition there. Oh, that's trying to get it to, there we go. That could be done better. Yeah, you see how that is? It should look like it's one piece of metal, not two. So let's redo that. Heat it up. Now when you're doing this, you don't want to have the iron too hot or on the connector too long, because you can melt the plastic that the connector is in, and that will throw off your the alignment of your battery plug to your speed controller plug. So now that is how it should look. Notice how it is now appears to be one piece of metal. That's a good solder. Okay, let's do the other one. Now you can see that there is a little bit of a point where it looks like, really? Since I have big hands, where it looks like I am having an issue with the wire and getting it into the right position. If that seems to be a concern of yours, or you are having issues with it, you can always use a small pair of pliers, like needle nose pliers, or even some tweezers, hobby tweezers, and that will always work. And let's look at this one. And this one needs to be redone also. Wow, look at that. Twice in one video. That's horrible. But you know what? I am not an expert. Never said I was. I'm just a normal person like everybody else. Okay, so if you do run into this issue of your solder not melting, or not melting, but of your solder not coating both pieces of metal good enough where it looks like it's one piece of metal, then just take solder, put it on the tip of your iron, and reheat the area and let it cascade over both pieces of metal. Now that we have that done, now you can take your heat gun or a lighter. I'm going to use my heat gun. And put your string tubing on. Oops. And put your string tubing on. And there you go. That's how you tin your wires. That's how you solder your connectors on there. And that is how you do your orientation as far as your connectors are concerned. Please comment if you have any comments. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much. If you are new to the hobby, welcome to the family. We're glad to have you. Have a great night. Bye.